Hi guys, welcome back. It's cold in the shop today. Right now it's not too bad, it's about 37 degrees. It was 18 this morning when I got out here, so it's warmed up a little bit. Anyway, we're going to be doing a bolster plate. Some people call it a dial-a-hole. Goes in the anvil to basically punch and drift and all sorts of things. I'm going to go through that. I've been asked a couple of questions lately about why I post videos on building a drift or a punch or something simple like that. Well, for me it's scrapping, and if I can take something that's old that someone else has tossed out, didn't care about, and I can turn it into a useful new tool, that's what I'm going to do. And it's fun for me. And there's a lot of young smiths out there, young new smiths, let's put it that way. There's a lot of new smiths out there that are trying to figure this stuff out. And if anything I do can help them out or give them just the little bit of information that they need to get moving forward, that's what I'm going to do. And it's a lot of fun for me. I am retooling a lot of things and building new stuff, and if that information helps someone, that's what it's all about. Anyway, there's your answer. So we're going to jump into this thing, and it's going to be a fairly short thing. I've got a series of short videos coming up. I got a little question and answer thing, and I've got some more tong video stuff to put out as well. Hope you enjoy it. Stick with me and we'll see how this thing goes. See you guys. Alright, so we got a chunk of scrap here. It's 1 inch thick, it's 8 inches long and 4 3/4 wide, and we're gonna put a pin in the center, go through the Pritchel hole. So we'll get it over the little Vulcan anvil and use our hole down of a different sort, so we can cut this thing off here and grind this plate down, clean it up a little bit. I'm really happy with that little hole down, even though I had to weld it. It works out really well. Let me get that thing knocked off there. And there's a lot of grinding to clean this thing up, so I just sort of shorten that up a little bit. Get through this. Smooth off all the edges and round them over, get rid of the sharp spots on both sides. And we're going to put a little X to find center. That'll pivot right in the middle. Now you'll remember this from a previous video. This plate is where we removed a 2-inch section from the end to create our spring swedge for the power hammer. Okay, so there's a whole lot of hole drilling in this thing. So again, give you the shortened version here. And of course all the holes that we drilled in this thing started with a 1/4 inch and worked our way up. Now, the center hole is going to be a piece of 5/8 mild steel we're going to put in as a post for a pivot. So we drilled this center hole out in about 11/16 of an inch. Wanted to give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room to make sure that that center post, we could get it upright and at 90 degrees to the plate. And of course we wanted our weld to be able to get down inside there a little bit, so that'll help give us a little more weld surface. So use a little carpenter square, hammer, tap it straight, get it 90 degrees all the way around. Now we're just MIG welding it on the bottom here, not a lot of penetration, but it'll hold it in place while we prepare to weld the top. And of course that's going to sit down on the anvil, so we have to grind that as square and as flat as possible. Alright, which fits real well. And it goes right over the hardy hole, and that's where we'll punch our holes. So we get the big stick welder out and cranked it up so it would burn into that thick plate real well. And grab that center post. And of course we don't want any protrusion there getting in the way of our punching and drifting. There's a lot of mill scale on this piece. Not a lot of rust, but a real thick layer of scales. So, hardened stone grinder, and then went to a soft disc to clean it up, make it as flat as possible. A little undercut on that weld in the center, but it's no big deal. Plate's gonna get beat up anyway. So I took a piece of chalk here and just rotated the plate around to give myself a sort of an idea of where these holes needed to be drilled. And I got a couple of lines there, but I ultimately measured from the center point out to the center of the hardy hole, and it ended up being right between those two lines. So I drilled a series of 1/4-inch holes. I know, I should be using a clamp to hold a workpiece. But if I did, you guys wouldn't have anything to yell at me about. So, there you go. I ended up drilling a series of holes from 1/4-inch all the way up to 7/8 of an inch, plus a divot for a rivet header in this thing. So that'll give me a little more than just a Pritchel hole. So I grabbed myself a ball bearing, and I'm using it to sort of chamfer the edges of that rivet header hole, get rid of the sharp edges on that. We took a piece of A2 and I ground a little rounding punch out of it, and we'll heat that up and let it air cool, and we can round out the bottom of that hole for that rivet header. And after it hardened, we took it over to the sander and polished it up. We got that big plate into the forge and heated it up. And this thing puts off a lot of heat. Been a while since I heated up a piece of 1-inch thick in the forge, and even with my glove on, it's kind of difficult to get close to it. So we're going to grab a pair of tongs. There you go. Round the bottom of that hole out nice and smooth. Get it into some water, cool that thing off. It ended up boiling the water before it got cool. We take our little rivet header, use the plate to knock the rivet out, and the punch gets stuck, so we'll knock the punch out. And of course, Big Dog wants to know what's going on here, so it's a rivet, Big Dog. And we're going to go ahead and rivet up this rivet we just made, and just threw a piece of scrap. See how this works. We got our little header tool. Give that a shot and see how it goes. And it worked out pretty well. And we used our spring swedge to make this round on the end of this piece of square, and we wanted to put a shoulder on it. And there it is. Nice. It worked out really well. So it's a great plate for putting shoulders on for mortise and tenon joints. And then of course, having the right size hole for tongs to drift out the rivet hole is really important. Very little distortion in that. Worked out really well. So we use our little rivet header hole to get this rivet started in this pair of tongs. And that worked out really well. Very, very happy with this thing. So anyway, guys, nice short one for you. Thanks for hanging out. Hey guys, well, it worked out. It's a lot warmer in the shop now. Heating up that much metal tends to warm the shop up quite a bit. So we're at about 42 degrees right now, and comfortable. So anyway, there you have it. It's going to work out well for punching and drifting holes in tongs. The hole comes out a lot cleaner when you've got the proper size hole. The hole on the anvil is about 3/4 of an inch, a Pritchel hole, and the hardy hole is 1.25 inches. When you're trying to drift through a hole that large, you're trying to do a 1/4-inch hole. It just pushes the steel right down inside it, makes for an ugly mess. So this is going to sort a lot of things out for me. it's kind of nice being able to spin that thing around and just select whichever hole you need to increase incrementally with punches the size of a hole in a piece of metal, or you know, if you just got a 1/4 inch hole you need to punch. So it's a good tool, good addition to the shop. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. So I wanted to say thanks to everybody who has subscribed recently. If you like the video, go ahead and click like. It helps me out a little bit, gets me out there a little more. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I'd appreciate it. And share. Thanks, and we'll see you next time right here at Big Dog Forge. You guys have a great holiday. See you soon. Bye.